Good afternoon, everybody. And quite frankly, I should say aloha. I am on the Big Island, and lucky for us, we have Zoom, so we're able to keep in touch anywhere in the world.
That's not fair.
Yeah. I want to welcome everybody to our first quarterly update for Rotary Foundation chairs. And if everybody would put yourself on mute, I would appreciate it. But thank you so much for joining us. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jane Hulbert, and I am the District 5150 Rotary Foundation Chair, and it is my pleasure to continue to serve and help all of our clubs and Rotarians. Joining us today, we have a number of what I call Rotary Foundation experts. Just to let you know who's going to be speaking with us today. That's Dave Bertini, our annual fund chair, Carrie Chin, who is our E-Ray coordinator, as well as our Paul Harris Society individual, Bob Gutzel, Michelle Choi, John Marshall, and also Dave Hellman. Dave is going to be here to answer any questions that we really need him to. We are recording this session, so you will have it for future information, or you can share it with your fellow Rotarians should you wish. And we will also be sending this PowerPoint out to you. We will hopefully have time to answer any questions. And should you have any questions, please put your questions in the chat, and we will definitely get to them. First, I'd like to just give each and every one of you a big thank you. You know, you wouldn't be here unless you were passionate and supporting on an ongoing basis the Rotary Foundation. And I just can't thank you enough for helping your club members understand both the giving aspect of the Rotary Foundation as well as grants. And so I just really, really appreciate all that you do. Now, we're really fortunate today because our governor, Danielle Lallement, is here with us today. And I've asked her to say a few words. So Danielle?
Thank you so much, Jane. It's wonderful to see all of you. And actually, I saw a few of you today, so it's great to see you again. And I'm really excited about, first of all, that we have these quarterly meetings to really discuss and deep dive into our foundation. One of the challenges I think that we face is there are a lot of competing priorities for our members and for Rotarians. And so it's always great for us to have a reminder of why our foundation is so important and all of the work that we do as an organization and how it's driven by our donations, our grants, and all of that. So it is very important to me and also to this group of esteemed colleagues who are experts in what we do to really help bring these stories to our members and to highlight what the work is that we do. So Jane had also asked me to kind of talk through a little bit about my goals and what I hope for our district for this year. And we came, and I don't want to this close, to raising $1 million last year. I mean, we were only short by, I think, what, 20,000? I can't remember. It was not.
It was about 8,000.
Thank you. So very, just a smidge amount. I would love for us to break $1 million, actually. I think that would be outstanding. It would be fantastic. We have a wonderful group of giving. And this year, our foundation event, which I'm assuming we'll probably talk through a little bit, we will have an opportunity to help raise some money for our foundation, which is great. In addition to that, we are also, and you may notice we have a couple of upcoming events that we are hosting for our eradication to end polio efforts. And so it's highlighting all of that work that we do to help eradicate polio. And so for that, I'm hoping that we can meet a $200,000 goal in our polio giving, which it has not in the past. So we're hoping to increase that this year. And as part of that, something that I have offered to do, it was kind of just an idea, that came up, and basically it is, and we will identify the date when this is going to happen, but I am going to jump out of an airplane. So basically that is skydiving for polio. We may have a few other people who might join. I've had a few of our presidents actually who have offered and are very interested in doing this. So when you start hearing about that, you'll know what that is. So we'll be raising money for that. I think Jane has called it parachuting for polio, I think. I don't know if that sounds really good or not. It could sound pretty bad, but I think that's what we're going to do. So I'm really excited for this year. I am thrilled to have all of you here and helping support this. And Jane, back to you.
All right, Danielle, thanks. I want to go back to sharing the screen if I can here. Okay, come on. You know, sometimes it just doesn't want to work. There. So Danielle, do you want to talk about these 7 areas of focus before we go on, or at least the newest one?
Yes, absolutely. So for those of you who may or may not know, and I've kind of talked about this a bit in some of my club visits, but this year, starting July 1st, we have a new area of focus with our organization of protecting the environment. So what this means is that now we can also apply for grants associated with environmental projects. And this is a big focus for our new Rotary International President, Shaker Mehta, because it is new for this year. So I think it's a wonderful addition to the other areas that we support. And in a lot of the information that we're receiving now includes a lot of the different opportunities that we have. So there will be some opportunities throughout the year of our support of this, and we're highlighting it this year because it's brand new to our organization.
Great, thank you, Danielle. And just to remind everybody, you can get this graphic as well as other really neat graphics on the areas of focus in the Brand Center. And they also have a bunch of new virtual backgrounds as well for the areas of focus. So you might want to check it out in the Brand Center. So you've seen this slide before, doing good in the world. And as Rotarians, we do good in our communities and certainly around the globe. And it's just really amazing what it is that we can do. Now, Rotary's mission, Rotary Foundation mission, has been around for a while. And the foundation helps Rotarians to advance world understanding, goodwill, and peace by improving health, providing quality education, improving the environment, and alleviating poverty. You know, and people ask oftentimes, why should I give to the Rotary Foundation? And I think as foundation chairs, sometimes we're asked or told, would you stop asking me for donations? And I think that what we need to remember is that, you know, the Rotary Foundation does much more than ask people for money. You know, that money that we give, a lot of it comes back in the form of DDF to our clubs. And then those funds are used for, you know, district grants, global grants. We can give DDF to the Peace Centers, to Polio Plus, to the endowment, or to a specific area of focus. And so I just encourage you to constantly make that connection for our Rotarians, the giving and the grant side. And remember, you and your club president are the inspiration in your club about the Rotary Foundation. So gifts of any size have a big impact, and I've just highlighted 3 here. You know, there's $200 that provides some medical equipment, $1,000 conflict resolution training, and we certainly know these days that the world needs more conflict resolution, or $50 for a water filter in rural Guatemala. There are many examples at the Rotary Foundation for you to use as examples to your members when they ask the question, why should I give more money or any money to the Rotary Foundation? Now, what I'd like to do is to shift just a little bit, and I've asked Dave Bertini to talk about, let me see, yes, hold on. I'm sorry, there's one other thing that I want to talk about. Sorry, Dave. And that's the changes in district designated funds and the World Fund. And for those of you involved in global grants particularly, you'll recall that when you used $1 of DDF, the Rotary Foundation would match that with $1. So it was a 1-to-1 match. Well, we became a victim of our own success with the global grant program. And as a result, this last July 1st, the Rotary Foundation could no longer fund our global grants at $1 for dollar. So now now it's going to be for every dollar of DDF, the Rotary Foundation will fund it only at 80 cents on a dollar. So that is a big change, which means that our clubs are going to necessarily need to do additional fundraising. So, all right, Dave, let me bring you up. Dave Bertini, again, our annual fund chair. And there you go, Dave.
Thank you so much, Jane, and good evening or good afternoon, everyone. I think Jane's like 3 hours behind, so here we are. And thank you for joining us tonight. And I know I'm speaking to a bunch of experts, and I'm not going to tell you anything that you don't already know, but I just want to make sure that you know that we are a resource for you in your clubs if there are presentations that need to be done, or if you have any questions for your club members, we'll be glad to come and speak about this. And you know, I'm going to go over the kind of the basics of how the share works. I know Jane spoke already about the little bit of a change because we were so successful, the 20% less, but you know, it's still, I think, a pretty good a return on our investment. And this is this graphic kind of talks about how the share system works. You know, the donations that we send in the annual fund, the E-Ray, every year, every Rotarian every year, in 3 years, it grows, and that spending or that money comes back, and the spending decisions are half it goes to the World Fund, which you know has not only you know all the different funds that we're talking about, the polio fund, but also world peace, etc. But half of that comes back to us in DDF funds. And it's really important, I think, for us to really talk about that to our club members, about the money that comes back to us in 3 years that we can use for all these different types of different projects. Now, I know a lot of clubs will use that DDF for other things like, you know, dictionaries, but some will actually put it towards projects. And it really depends on how your club wants to use it. And several years ago, one of our governors, Jerry Fujimoto, decided that it was time to give all that money back to each club on a per capita basis, which I think was great, as opposed to the kind of district being overseeing this money. So I think it's great that we have the ability to use the money in our clubs the way we want to use it. And one of the things I think is important to differentiate, I'm going to bring Jane back in, is the difference between the annual fund share and the endowment fund. Jane, can you just give me a couple minutes on that?
You bet. Thank you, Dave, for that. So as Dave said, the annual fund share, whatever we donated 3 years ago, essentially half of that money, it's actually 47.5% now, but roughly half of what was donated 3 years ago comes back to our district. And then Dave Hellman, who is the magician of all magicians, puts that into a spreadsheet and develops then the per capita distribution based on each club's contribution 3 years ago. And actually, we use the last 3 years. And then that is distributed to the clubs. So it's really clear with regard to what to that part of DDF, the annual fund share, that the more that your club donates, the more DDF your club will have to fund any of these things. We mentioned district grants, global grants, and I mentioned these others. Now, there's also an endowment fund and an endowment fund share, and it works very, very similarly. And you can donate to the endowment fund just as a straight out donation. Or some people, and a number of people in our district now are doing that, or you can specifically leave a gift to the Rotary Foundation in your state. And I want to talk about what happens to the endowment fund share when it is left in the estate. Now, a number of years ago, there was a Rotarian from Marin Evening who wanted to leave a gift to the Rotary Foundation. We knew it would be a large gift, but we also didn't know how large of a gift until she passed. Well, Patty left $1 million to the Rotary Foundation. Now, what happens, we and the Rotary Foundation share in the earnings that the endowment fund makes on Patty's $1 million. And just recently, the sad news is that a good friend of mine and Alan Ings and others, Winston Wood, who was a member of Marin Evening, and then Ignacio, passed away in September. And we just learned this week that his estate settled, and he made a gift of $250,000 to the endowment fund share. So now we're also going to be sharing with the foundation the earnings on Winston's endowment. Now, it's a little bit different because when Jerry made the decision and changed the policy, we all agreed that endowment fund share earnings would be shared among all of the clubs. So when we learned that amount of money, then Dave puts it into that magic spreadsheet of his. And so it's almost a bonus that comes back to the clubs. It is still DDF, it has the same stripes as DDF. It's just a slightly different way that we are able to receive DDF. When you hear endowment fund share, just know how that comes back to us. All right, Dave, anything more you want to add on that?
Yes. Thank you, Jay, for that. And there was a question in chat about the endowment versus annual. Annual fund is as we're living. Endowment is what is the money you're going to give after you've passed, and right.
Well, you can do an outright gift to the endowment fund now when you're living.
Right.
We see more often than not when it comes back from an estate.
Right. Exactly. And that's where we're looking at if you're doing a living trust or a will, you can give an amount of money to the endowment fund after you're passed, and that will come out of your estate. The next slide, please. So one of the things that I know you're all familiar with is the E-Ray tickets, and that we're going to be doing the same exact thing this year. And that is kind of a fun way to get your club members to really participate in E-Ray and give money to E-Ray, because there is a chance of winning some great prizes. And again, this year we're going to be doing a drawing for those folks that give to E-Ray with the tickets. That Carrie Chin is going to be really heading up this year again, and it'll allow your members to give money and then have a chance to win great Visa gift cards. And so that's kind of a great incentive to push your members to give to E-Ray. So that's something to look forward to that we're going to be doing very soon. And those are the kind of the incentives that we're doing. Now we're going to do a foundation event where that drawing will occur. Right now, things are a little bit up in the air because of whether we can do it live or not, or where and when we can do it because of COVID. But that is something that we're going to be deciding very hopefully soon when we're going to have that drawing. One of the things I really want to stress to each one of you to please, please, please bring back to your clubs, and I'll be glad to come and talk to you all about it, is Rotary Direct. One of my goals this Rotary year is to get 50%, I know it's high, 50% of all our district Rotarians to be on Rotary Direct. And Rotary Direct, for those of you who don't know, is automatic giving through a credit card. In other words, you fill out a form once, and you can just signify how much you want to give, to which fund you want to give, and then the money just comes out of your credit card, and you don't even see it. It's like your Starbucks app. That's the way I always tell people, right? So you don't know, you're just gonna use the app, and that's it, and it'll charge your credit card. So I really would please ask that you bring that back to all your clubs, in that we would love to have as many Rotarians as possible on Rotary Direct, because if you do that, before you know it, you'll be a major donor. That's how I became a major donor. I just got on Rotary Direct, and all of a sudden I got an award that I was a major donor. So that's something that I would like to just kind of put out to all of you. And I know, Jane, we have the slide for Rotary Direct, but eventually it'll come up, and you'll be able to actually see the Rotary Direct application. But you could also have your club members just go to ri.org, and it's there also.
Right.
And right now we're gonna talk about the spreadsheet to track progress towards.
No, Dave. Actually, if you or Carrie would talk about what we're looking for with regard to every Rotarian every year, as well as sustaining member.
Okay, we're very good. Carrie's kind of gonna be in charge of the whole the ticket process, but what we're asking for, this is our ask for the district, is that each Rotarian gives at least a minimum of $25 per capita, giving reaching 100 for the entire district altogether. And it really is helpful to earn points and progress towards your Paul Harris Foundation level. And one of the things that we're going to be giving also is for the first, and I know we changed the numbers from 250 to 260, for the first $260 that every member gives, the district will give them that in Paul Harris points. So that's kind of another great incentive for your members. If like you have members that have not given anything yet, and they want to work towards their first Paul Harris, it'd be a great way to do it. You pay $260, and you're going to get an extra 260 points towards your Paul Harris. Carrie, do you have any other comments about that?
No, you did a great job. Thank you.
All righty.
Dave mentioned per capita giving. Just so you know, our per capita giving this last year was $280 some, which was really quite high. So I thank everybody. On the right-hand side of this slide, you can see a sustaining member is when a Rotarian gives a minimum of $100. And again, Dave is right. Rotary Direct is the easiest way, and Bob Gutzel is going to be talking about that even more in a second here. And then this is the Every Rotarian Every Year brochure that you can download from the Rotary Foundation website. The other thing I'd like to mention about the E-Ray, right now our plan is to have the Rotary Foundation celebration on November 20. It will be a hybrid session as it stands now. And it will be at the Green Hills Country Club in Millbrae. And our guest speaker will be past chair and trustee of the Rotary Foundation, Brenda Cressy. So keep your fingers crossed. Every year we're able to do some really wonderful and fun events, but this certainly has been an unusual year. So we talked about banners, and I know that most of you have seen those little banners that come in the fall, recognizing clubs from the immediate past Rotary year. This is the banner report. It's a little blurry, but Carrie, if you could walk us through this.
Okay, I just want to check one thing. I can't see. Okay, that's all right. I'd like to give you a little bit of background first. The Rotary Foundation gives banners to recognize clubs for their contributions and supports for grants and programs. And so club foundation chairs and leaders may use the foundation banner club reports to check their club's progress all through the year towards earning 3 recognition banners. And the 3 recognition banners are: one for a 100% foundation giving club, a 100% every Rotarian every year club, and then the top 3 per capita clubs in giving to the annual fund. And the report keeps changing as your contributions from your clubs get to the Rotary Foundation. And so today you're looking at a district report from June 30th, which is the last day of our Rotary year. And you can get, I'm going to talk about the district report, but you can get a club report. It's a little bit different, but it gives the same information. But on the first 2 lines, it does give your members and their ID numbers. And the information that you see on the right will be on the top of the banner report, and you get other information. But in reality, you can get your club banner reports by going to My Rotary or Rotary Club Central. Okay, now all of the columns that you see are related to whether or not you get one of the 3 banners. The first 3 columns, it shows that the members you have on July 1st. The second column talks about the annual fund per capita. And the third line talks about the average TRF giving. And so both of these are the first requirements that you need to get to any of those banners. And before I get into that, I want to say that you'll see that every single club donated to the Rotary Foundation and to the annual fund. And that's the first time that that's ever happened. So thank you to all of the clubs. Okay, annual fund per capita. Per capita means that it's all of the money that your club has collected, received from donations, and it's divided by the number of July 1st members. And it tells what your per capita is. Now, if you look at the bold print, there are 36 clubs that it tells that you have at least $100 or more per capita. And the thing that's kind of interesting is that a new member and a new club does not have to participate in giving for any of these banners. But if they do give, it counts towards the per capita. And so thank you, Global Action District, which was a new club. They did contribute. And so that made it where every single club in our district did contribute. And this per capita list also will tell you if you fulfill the first requirement, but it also tells you what the top 3 clubs are in per capita giving. The next line, column talks about the annual TRF giving. And that involves members in your club that can give not just to the annual fund, but they can give to other funds in the Rotary Foundation, like polio, global grants, or any others that you can think of. But it doesn't have to be just from members. It can be from a friend, family, or even another club or group. And then you take all of those, the amount that was contributed, and you divide it by the July 1st members, and then you get the average of the giving. And so that determines if you fulfill the first requirement for the TRF giving banner. And in this column, you will see in bold print that 37 clubs actually achieved that goal. Now, the next 4 columns are talking about TRF giving banner. And you see the first line column, it says existing active Rotarians. So they took out the people who were absent and even maybe new Rotarians. You'd always have to check on that. And then the second column in that group shows how many of the Rotarians actually gave. And then the next column tells the percentage of your club that gave. If every member in your club gave to the Rotary Foundation and you got the average of $100 or more, then yes, the Y says you do get a banner. And it turns out that 18 clubs this past Rotary year received a banner. That's a record number because the year before that, only 7 received the banner. So thank you very much. The last 3 columns deals with the annual fund, contributions to the annual fund. So E-Ray stands for Every Rotarian Giving. And in that column, you see how many did give. In the next column, you see the percentage of the Rotarians that gave. And this recent report shows that 66% of the members in our district gave, and 34% did not give. So if those 34% had actually given at least $25, bought a drawing ticket plus giving $5 extra, then they would have been listed as an E-Ray Rotarian. So if you had the per capita, $100 per capita, and if every member in your club gave, then in the last column, you see the Y, which stands for yes, you received the banner. And 18 members clubs received the banner when last year, the year before that, only 4 clubs received the banner. So actually we're moving really far ahead. Now, I know some of you are wondering, when do you get this banner? This report, July 30th, determines is the list of who gets the banners. And then the list is sent to the district governor in October and November. So our governor may not have received it yet. And then after that, the clubs will receive the banners. And then the last 3 banners are the annual fund top 3 per capita club. And I would say you can still be one of the top 3. San Rafael Harbor had 17 members and they were in first place. Millbrae in second place has 27 members. And Novato in third place has 93 members. So in closing, as your E-Ray coordinator, I'm hoping that this will be another first year, that every club will give like they did last year, but every club will also be 100% E-Ray, every Rotarian every year, because I want our district to be the first in the world to achieve that goal. Thank you.
All right, Carrie, thank you so much. And Carrie, if I recall, when they pull the club banner report, the definitions that you just went through is on that report as well. Is that correct?
That's correct. You have the pages of the report, and then the page after the report has all the definitions.
Great. Well, thank you, Carrie, so much. And, you know, Carrie's, she's just really great working with clubs. And that is one of the real reasons why we were able to achieve what we did this last year. So thank you again, Carrie.
Thank you.
So I thought it might be helpful just as a refresher, because I know we've got some new foundation chairs here, is to talk about reports, why they're useful and where to find them. And with that, I'd like to introduce from the Rotary Club of Menlo Park, Michelle Choi. Michelle, take it away.
Okay, so I'm Michelle Choi, and you can find all these reports at rotary.org. You just log in to your Rotary account, and you see the circle in red, go to My Rotary, and you'll see this page, and then you roll over to the Rotary Foundation tab, and then you will see the foundation reports, and you click on that, and then that will bring you to this page. And if you scroll down this page, the next slide, please. you will see under contributions and recognition, view reports, you can access all kinds of reports there. And can you see, go to the next page? So you click on that. And so under club reports, you can see the Paul Harris Fellow report, and the Club Foundation banner report would tell you exactly which member has donated and the date of when they donated. So you can really track which member has donated and which have not. So then you can go back the right people. And if there's any question about any particular member, you can also call the RI number. They're very, very helpful. You just give them the name of your member and they can look up anybody, and they're very willing to look things up for you.
All right, Michelle, thank you. And now everybody has your name and number, so you'll probably get some calls. So thank you very much.
Anytime.
Well, one of the things that club presidents get to do every year is to set goals. And one of them is in the area of the Rotary Foundation. And specifically, they're asked for annual fund goals, Paul Harris goals, and major donors, major gifts, those kinds of things. So I want to make sure that everyone is aware that you can pull this club fundraising analysis. And I've always enjoyed this report because it basically gives you the last 4 years of 4 or 5 years of what your club's goal is and what your actual contributions have been. And it is charted like this. And a lot of times presidents throw up their hands and say, I have no idea what we've given. And this is just such a significant report, and it's an easy report. And you can see here in anyone's club that they started off in 1718 with 5,500. The numbers that are highlighted in blue indicate the highest level of giving. And then you can see that they were $8,700 this last year. This actually is a real club in our district. I just happened to change the name. You can see the annual fund per capita for this club, and also E-Ray members, sustaining members, and Paul Harris Society eligible. And Paul Harris Society, of course, being where you commit to give $1,000 annually to the Rotary Foundation. And there's a really great caveat there, which is that if I'm financially able. So I think a lot of people get nervous about committing to $1,000 a year, but the fact that we've got that great caveat is really good. Now, I'm going to attempt to stop sharing this screen and go to something else to share, which is always just such fun. But I think I've got it. Here we go. This is going to talk about what we in our district have been able to do with regard to monies from the Rotary Foundation.
There comes a time when we heed a certain call, when the world must come together as one. There are people dying. Oh, when it's time to lend a hand to life, the greatest gift of all. We can't go on pretending day by day that someone somewhere will soon make a change. great big family. And the truth, you know, love is all we need. We are the children. We are the ones who make a brighter day. So let's start giving. There's a choice we're making. We're saving our own lives. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me. Well, send them your heart so they know that someone cares, and their lives will be stronger and free, as God has shown us by turning stone to bread. And so we all must lend a helping hand. We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones to make a brighter day. So let's start giving. Oh, there's a choice we're making. We're saving our lives. It's true, we make a better day, just you and me. When you're down and out, and there seems no hope at all. But if you just believe, there's nowhere we can fall. Well, let's realize, oh, that a change can only come when we stand together as one.
You know, I haven't seen that video in a while, and it is absolutely amazing what we do, what we're able to do. So again, thank you.
You know, it's funny. I think that I've thought about this, that I would probably be a happier person if I were painting all the time. So this begs the question, well, then why the hell aren't you painting all the time? I don't know.
Sorry about that. Yes, and I see a note from Dennis. You're asking for the video. We can do that. Some of you have seen it. It was done a couple of 3 years ago. And anyway, let me try to get back to share screen. Hold on. All right. And it is the moment. Sorry about this. All right, Bob Gutzel from the Rotary Club of Peninsula Starlight is going to talk with us about more in detail about Rotary Direct. Bob, go ahead.
Well, first of all, welcome everyone, and thank you so much for everyone's participation and time. After watching that video, I don't know how one can't understand about how simple Rotary Direct is. My dear friend, God, I just lost his first name. Dave Bertini, my goodness, oh my God, this is what happens when you get older. I talked about Rotary Direct a little bit earlier, but Rotary Direct is probably the most not known about, easiest way to get your members to donate to Rotary. It's one simple form, and the easiest way to find it for every single club is to go on to Google and punch in Rotary EN, which means English, 721. And it's a very easy way to navigate Rotary website, and Rotary's website is huge and complex and can be cumbersome sometimes. So Google is your way. Someone taught me that a long time ago. The form is EN 721, which is a Rotary Direct form. It can be credit card, it can be cash, it can be check. And what you do is you set up a quarterly payment, a monthly payment, a yearly payment in any denomination that you want. Has to be a $25 minimum donation, but it's done. And you don't have to be a Rotarian to do it, but if you do it as a Rotarian, please look at this blue area here. You have to put your RA number in and tell your Rotary Foundation chair that you're doing it. If everyone in the club did it, $84 a month gets you a new level Paul Harris every year. That's $1,000 a year. And it's, it's 2 pizzas. It's a pizza and a beer with your loved one. And it's done. I mean, people are spending this on subscriptions for virus protection and whatnot. They have no idea that they're spending the money, but $84 a month could go to Rotary to do what you've learned about tonight, and much more. Rotary does so much more. It's just amazing. So my encouragement would be to all of you to go to Google, punch in Rotary form EN, which means English again, 721 in the Rotary Direct form, and send it to every single one of your members. It is so simple to be able to support the Rotary Foundation. And that's what I had to say there. Again, it can be check, cash, credit card, wire. Rotary will take your money. I will say one more thing. Rotary is having a little bit of issues with their website because it's so big. I think Michelle or Carrie said it earlier. Call them. They're so helpful on the phone. If you're a foundation chair, a president, a secretary, they are so helpful to talk to you, and really, really great people. So, and again, lastly, I'll say Rotary works because you do. It wouldn't be, Rotary wouldn't be anything without you. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Well, and thank you so much for your enthusiasm about Rotary Direct. And just so you know, this picture was taken at a school for girls in Kolkata, India. And you may have heard of past district governor Deepa Willingham. And she's created Pace Universal. And these girls are able to go to school and actually have breakfast and lunch. And their village is extraordinarily destitute. So all funded with a variety of global grants and local money. All right, we're back to Michelle Choi. Michelle, will you talk about some recognitions, please?
Hey,
Yeah,
Jane, I'm sorry to interrupt, but, and I could be wrong, but I thought I was going to talk about something else on the agenda there.
Yeah, sure, go ahead, Bob.
Because it ties in, and I was just gonna pause for a moment. So why give to Rotary and not just to your Rotary Club? I joined the Rotary Club of XYZ because I want to do this project, which is exactly why I joined Rotary. I joined Rotary to do a community service project within San Carlos. And the light bulb for Rotary International went off when I went to an international convention. And I've got to say, the reason to support both, and one should support both to the means that they can support both, but Rotary International takes your money and uses it probably better than anyone I've ever in my life seen use money. One of the best judges of that is a website called Charity Navigator, and Rotary International continues to be extremely high, top 10. I think we're top 4 right now, maybe top 3 of where our dollars go. And not to put anyone else down, but some very reputable organizations are not even close to where a dollar for dollar goes. So look at that. I encourage that. And then the other thing is why support Rotary International and your club is Rotary's the big picture. It's the big balloon. Your club's the basket of the balloon. It's where you do the trees. It's where you take care of the people in the community. It's where you take care of the kids. But Rotary International is this huge balloon, and your dollar, it's just amazing where it goes. So I'm so proud to be part of this. I've got to say, and I continue to say it to my members of my club, it's a complicated process. And I don't know that anyone really understands it 100%, but we can find the answers for it and for your questions. But it's a really good investment on your dollar. So thank you so much for my time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it. Now to Michelle.
Okay, so Rotarians love pins. So to recognize our members who donate to the Rotary Foundation, when the donation of an individual reach or the points reach 1,000 points, it can be points that's given to you by another Rotarian or somebody. When you reach 1,000 points, you become a Paul Harris Fellow, and you'll get a pin. And then any additional 1,000 points from that point on, you would get an additional stone on your pin. So it would start with a sapphire, and then so you will have one, 2, or 3, depends on how many 1,000 points you have. And then the next level would be, it would turn into a ruby. So, and again, so every time you reach 1,000 points, you'll get a new pin. And that's how we recognize our Paul Harris Fellows. The next slide. And then, as Jane said earlier, if you commit to donating $1,000 a year, you will become a Paul Harris Fellow. You'll be a member of the Paul Harris Society, and then you'll get this extra chevron that you would put along with your Paul Harris pin. That's how we recognize our donors.
All right, Michelle, thank you. There's been a question that comes up sometimes when you have especially generous donors who may have 10,000 or 11,000 Paul Harris points, and yet they're not a major donor. And again, a major donor is at $10,000. The difference is, to become a major donor, it's $10,000 from the donor. So that if they've got more points from, like, you know, sometimes you'll receive points for doing a good job, you'll receive those points from someone else, and that's all well and good, but it does not count toward major donor status. And that's been difficult to explain to members when all of a sudden they get 10,000 points and they think they can be a major donor. So just keep that in mind as you go along.
And can I make a comment on that very quickly? I'm sorry to interrupt.
Okay.
So what the really cool thing about points is that the donor doesn't know who gave the points until they become a major donor and make that decision. I experienced that myself, and the people that supported me along the way in Rotary, and we in Peninsula Starlight are certainly doing that right now. It's amazing to see who supported you along the way. It's just so cool to see. So thank you so much.
All right, so I want to talk quickly because I'm hoping to be able to get to your questions, and I think there's a bunch of them. You know, Rotary took the courageous step in 1985, and they made a promise to the children of the world that they were going to make the world polio free. Well, it's taken us a little bit longer than we thought it was going to be. And I wanted to talk about a couple of things. One is the DDF match for Polio Plus. And if you recall, I mentioned that we had, you know, we're a victim of our own success with regard to global grants. And I just want to give you a mathematical illustration that if your club was to give $2,000 DDF to Polio Plus, the World Fund now matches that only by 50 cents on the dollar or $1,000. You add those two up and you get $3,000. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation continues to make that match of 2 to 1. And therefore the $3,000 plus the $6,000 equals $9,000. It is one of the best leverage of DDF in Rotary. And I encourage everybody to consider donating to Polio Plus and encouraging people to donate. It is much, much more than just polio these days. Our polio workers around the world are out giving vaccines for COVID. And, we've been involved in the fight against Ebola, dengue fever, any number of things. So it's really important that we continue our progress in this area. There's also the Polio Plus Society, similar to the Paul Harris Society. It asks for a commitment of $1,000 a year until the world is polio free. And maybe we're going to get there soon. The last report I saw, I believe there's still only 2 cases of polio in the world. And who would have thought that our little 1.2 million member organization would become a global leader in health.
I would like to thank Rotarians for your incredible efforts over the decades to eradicate this devastating disease and to congratulate you, most importantly, on what you have achieved.
Rotarians have a very powerful global voice, and they've demonstrated that time and time again about polio.
Your work matters, and we and the world need you. Every idea and action that you have taken has led us to where we are and where we will be going.
We are proud of our amazing partnership with Rotary. As we near the finish line, the work is harder than ever, and Rotary's support is more important than ever.
We cannot succeed without you. We must stay the course. Together, we can make sure the children of the future only learn about polio in history books.
It's only because of this big global movement, which had Rotary at the very center, that today we're just at the cusp of eradicating polio.
Rotarians, we need you, we really do, to continue to do what you historically have done so well, but to actually tick it up a bit.
Rotarians, you are almost there. This is an exciting, close to success moment for all of us in the world.
If you look at what's made a difference in terms of the progress, often political commitment has been a factor. And Rotary has been key in terms of motivating community leadership, political leadership, to get this job done.
So please pass that along to your members. It's really important for people to understand what a difference we're making in the world. We have several really wonderful foundation events planned. The Truffle Shuffle to End Polio has sold out. It is on October 3rd. It's going to be just an awful lot of fun. And on October 24, World Polio Day, we have the Urban Scavenger Hunt at the Cannery. Tickets are on sale now. And we also have the November 20 Rotary Foundation event, Up and Away with E-Ray. And then we've got the Rotary Foundation 2022 cruise, again, for the eradication of polio. And what I think I'd like to do now, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And Danielle, are there questions in chat that we need to address?
Hi, Jane. I'm gonna be taking care of that, and I've been looking at the chat, and I've answered most of the questions already. But I think we're good.
Okay. Are there any other questions from the floor? Is everybody muted?
Hi, Jane. This is Mike Hebel. I have a question for you.
Hi, Mike.
Jane, if a Rotarian in a revocable living trust leaves monies to the Rotary Foundation of Rotary International, is this the endowment to which you've been speaking with some monies coming back to our district?
That's a really great question, Mike. Thank you for that. So in a living trust or whatever estate plans there are, the individual needs to make the decision where that money wants to go. It might go to the endowment fund share. Jean and I, for example, we've sent some to endowment fund share. We've sent some off to Polio Plus and also to the peace centers. And yes, you're going to have to wait till we leave the earth. But it's really important for people to understand, and the plan giving people and those they're really experts in the area can help each individual. So that Mike, if I understand, you and Gidi are very much into women and children, and so your estate plans now include that. And it may or may not include polio or the other. So it's up to each individual. And the Rotary Foundation also has some really good advice, and we can put any of you in touch with the foundation people. They're really excellent. Mike, does that answer your question?
Thank you. It does.
You're welcome. Kathy Hartzell, West Marin.
Spacebar usually unmutes. My question, one question is on that magnificent match that takes 2,000 to 9,000 magically. Is that only us sharing our DDF? I mean, our club used to be, when we met, every week we contributed to either peace for 3 months or polio for 3 months. And in the end of the year, we would give, I can't remember right now, but somewhere between $800 and $1,500 to each of them, or to one of the, to the two. Does that also get multiplied?
So with regard to polio, the World Fund, the World Fund will match cash donations. I mean, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation will match cash donations. The example that I used was district designated funds only. And that's why the DDF going to polio is so powerful.
So our 1,000 becomes 2,000 or 3,000 because they double it, and then with just the Bill and Melinda.
Right, right.
Well, that's a good way for me to work on people making those sorts of contributions during these Zoomy times.
Yep, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then the other thing I just wanted to check on, the many of us joined your polio plus annual giving, and got and so forth. I wear my coin. Wasn't that, you mentioned when you directed us to that on the screen, that it was $1,000 annual commitment?
To Polio Plus?
Yeah.
Polio, am I mistaken? What?
I think
Was
it's
it
$100.
$100? Oh, thank you, Jorg. Yeah, just had a decimal point problem there. $100.
That's what I thought. I mean, I am obviously I give 1,000 to it, but I thought, wait a second, I think that was the $100 one. So there we go. Okay, just wanted to clarify, because
yes, thank you. Thank you both.
All right, thank you.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Jorg.
I have completed one page of the drawing ticket and Paul Harris recognition point transfer form, almost ready to be sent in. Still keep going on this, but when will these points be available for the recipient?
So first off, please send all of the point recognitions to Carrie Chin,
Sure.
assuming that you want them to be from the district. And I think Carrie's only received 1 or 2, and I've received 1 or 2. And so we're about to send them in, and then the foundation takes maybe 2 weeks to process it.
Okay.
So it happens very quickly.
Okay, because members will be waiting for their PIN where they need the points for, right?
Yes.
After they contribute. And okay, we'll send this form in pretty soon.
Yeah, send it to Carrie, please.
Okay, sure.
Yes. And speaking of that, so send the forms in to Carrie, and please have the member ID number. That's most important. Also, when you send in the tickets to Carrie, please cut them up because, yeah, her paper cutter doesn't work anymore. So please cut them up.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
I do have just a comment, and remember all foundation people, the information that we experience and talk to our members is completely confidential, and one needs to stress that as a foundation chair within a club. I feel that this is a very confidential thing because there's a lot of things that are going on, and just make it as comfortable for people as possible, and we're all going to win. Thanks.
Yeah, you are absolutely correct, Bob. And I thought I had I do have in this presentation. Let me see if I can get back to it. When you stop and start, well, it's not gonna work. I have a list of the top 10 things that foundation chairs and club presidents can do. I will send that out to you with everything that we've talked about. And one of the things is to talk to people individually and see what's going on with them. And the other thing is, please, when someone has a Paul Harris presentation or when they've received a Paul Harris presentation, I've been to meetings when someone stands up and says, "Congratulations, Bob, here's your Paul Harris +5." And there are guests in the room. Nobody in the room has a clue what a Paul Harris is, much more how significant it is for a Paul Harris +5. So please take the time to celebrate what these people have been able to do. $1,000 for a lot of people is a lot of money. And it's just important for us to continually, thank everybody as well as to inspire them. So it's one of my pet peeves when I see those Paul Harris pins being literally thrown across the floor. Oh, yes. Thank you, Dave. Dave says, anytime you need a Paul Harris Society or a Paul Harris presentation, get in touch with Dave or myself, any number of us, and when Danielle visits your club, if she's not been there yet, you've got Paul Harris's to present. She does a great job. And, but anyway, I just wanted us to get together, and next time, please send me your either topics you'd like covered or questions, or if you want to talk about a specific topic. One of the things that I want to get going is our Bequest Society, which leads into what Mike was talking about, which was the endowment. And what does that mean? So I'm going to be working with Michelle to help kick that off. And then have a presentation, quite frankly, for all of the foundation chairs. And so that's all I had for today. I know we've run over just a little bit, but I thank you for your attention, and just thank you so much for everything that you're doing. I mean, it's really, really great. Yes, and there's John Marshall saying Danielle did a great job presenting a Paul Harris +2 today at John's and my club.
Thank you for reminding us of the inspiration that we're able to share with our members and the opportunity we're able to give them to be part of this in the world.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm also going to give you some resources as well as to find foundation videos. They are everywhere. Some of them are on the foundation website. Some of them are on YouTube. Some of them are on Vimeo. And it's really, I mean, once a month, I just scour for them. But I really love that global leaders. That's a very inspirational thing. And again, it only takes a couple of minutes to show the videos at your club meetings, whether it's virtual or in person. And remember the Foundation Minute, that only takes a minute, and you can find those on the website as well. Well, you guys know how passionate I am, and I know that all of you are just as passionate. So thank you so much, and we'll see you at the next quarterly meeting. So thank you. Bye-bye.